Okay, so I didn't think I was gonna be making any recording today or whatever, but and it's really late right now, but or technically really early, whatever you want to say. But Rudy, he just uploaded a kind of response to my previous video, and I listened to it, and I did have stuff to say, but I was just having a hard time thinking how I would organize it if I did it in text, kind of, or whatever, how I would like talk about it. So I just said, screw it, I'll just make a video. It's just easier just to rewatch it and then comment and then reply to it as I'm listening to it, I guess. So I said, yeah, screw it, I'll just do it this way, even if it's even if it's super lazy. But I guess that's normally what I do at this point. Funny thing that was I guess you could say synchronicity or whatever, but I was getting done doing something else, which I was basically just getting off playing like WoW or whatever, and I was going to try and do some coding stuff for the this mod update for that locked loot containers mod. But I've been procrastinating doing that all day, so I was continuing procrastinating on doing that. But I was thinking, I was like, Rudy said he was gonna make a response, and I was like, uh, you know, I was wondering, I wonder if he's gonna release it today or what, because it's getting kind of late. It was just funny, the synchronicity or whatever that. Basically, as soon as I thought that, I checked my notifications or whatever, and it was that was you released it like 10 minutes before that or some shit like that, which I was like, that's pretty fucking funny. But yeah, besides that, that funny synchronicity, uh, l- let's try to respond kind of to your response or whatever. Talk about some of the stuff you talked about.
Come on, sing again. Say a repetitive joke from your last 17 years of streaming.
So, I forget the guy's name. Tevin or some shit that I guess does basically mocks uh Darkside Phil's gameplay and stuff here. I guess he still does this, obviously. I guess I gotta give the guy credit, but maybe not. I don't know. Like this kind of shit would get to me, at least. If I was him, I would be like, man, this shit gets fucking old. Just going over the same shit with these guys like Darkside Phil that don't really change that much. Just going over the same shit. Kind of an interesting thing with YouTube, like the reaction kind of stuff is it's so like I say this just because I find it funny with my dad. I mean, he just kind of watches the stuff he gets recommended. Obviously, how most people do it with their like mobile apps and the way that their TV apps, whatever, like the smart TV app. Basically, you can't even have like a subscription list. You just kind of go whatever the algorithm throws at you. But he gets a lot of this shit like political stuff, like reactions or whatever, and it's so weird. It's like 90+% of the time it's just like a black dude, and I'm not saying that that's like a problem, but I just find it fucking weird that it's like always black dudes that are doing these like reactions, especially seemingly these political reactions. It feels like it's it's almost a like if it like a pandering thing or like almost a diversity. I mean, who fucking knows that these people are like not even real or just AI generated themselves or whatever. These people making these reaction channels about political topics and shit. But it's like people wouldn't take them seriously if they were a white guy or some shit. So it's got to be a black guy or something like that because that's like the more diverse option. Like if he says like if this black guy is talking conservative points, then that makes it like more legitimate or something, because it's like, oh man, it's just a fucking, I don't know how I got, but just hearing this Thevin guy or whatever with the Dark Side. I know this guy. I haven't watched him in like ages, but I know this guy. I know his voice and stuff. But I'm like, what's with this? It's just a pattern I've noticed. It's like always with these kind of reaction content. It's always a fucking black guy. It's like I know that black guys tend to have like the way that they talk or something. It makes it like more funny for a lot of people or something. But I just a weird pattern I noticed. It's like always fucking black dudes, and especially with, from what I see with my dad, it's like political topic stuff. It's like 90% a fucking black dude reacting to this shit, and it's usually in a very like fucking, I don't know, like clownish, overly exaggerated way in a lot of cases. But it's just like just a weird thing I thought about when watching this part of your video.
Oh no!
Say would you like some balls?
And man, this lockpicking minigame is like, I mean, I don't know if they changed it in the remaster. I kind of doubt it. It doesn't look like they did, but they changed the graphics or the UI textures. Definitely, they did change them somewhat. To me, it just looks very similar, but somehow a little bit shittier. But yeah, this fucking Tumblr minigame with the locks is like, it's kind of like brain dead easy when you realize how it works. Like, the more that you hit the tumblers, it'll just kind of like be, depending on which one you're on, it'll just kind of cycle through the ones that are like impossible to hit, and then ones that are make it like piss easy to hit the spot that you're supposed to click it on or tap it on or whatever. So yeah, the fact that he's fucking this up, it's like, I mean, it's, if you don't understand it, I guess it kind of makes sense that you could fuck it up, but yeah, it's kind of like laughably easy. Like, even the very hard locks, you could kind of, if you know the way that it works, like you could kind of cheese it no matter how low your character's lockpicking skill is.
Shit.
But yeah, that's pretty bad that he fucked up this bad.
Fucking degenerate.
I was gonna say, on this song that you played at the beginning of you talking and then at the end of the outro, basically, I'm pretty sure this is from Chrono Trigger. For whatever reason, it made me think of Earthbound for a second, but I was like, nah, it's definitely not Earthbound. But I mean, it was just the Super Nintendo sound font made me think about it for a second, but I was like, I mean, you really like Chrono Trigger, so I'm like, it's almost definitely from Chrono Trigger. Fuck. What was the other? Oh, you mentioned Secret of Mana, so I was thinking afterwards. I was thinking maybe it was from Secret of Mana, but I don't think so. I could be wrong. If it is from Secret of Mana, tell me, just because out of curiosity. But I'm pretty sure it's from Chrono Trigger when you're in that festival or village at the beginning. I think that's the song. That's just what it made me think of, because it's weird with me with games. Like, I really don't play that many different games anymore. Like, I haven't really played like a different game in a fucking long time. Like, actually played it. So I'm kind of like a fake gamer. Like, I know more about like trivia and information about games, that kind of shit, but I don't actually like play that many games anymore. It's kind of humorous. But I am very much a video game music enthusiast. Or connoisseur or enjoyer, or whatever you want to say. So I know quite a lot of songs from a lot of games, or at least I've heard them before. But I'm pretty sure that's that from Chrono Trigger. I'm pretty sure. Fucking eyes itchy.
Hey, what's up, guys? Before I get started on what the recording's really going to be about, I want to talk about more synchronicity stuff real quick. Well, I think it was yesterday I made a community post about the book, The K, C-A-Y, The K. It's like that book is kind of targeted towards maybe like middle schoolers, like young teenagers. It's easy read. I read that book back when I was about maybe 13 or 14, and I remember liking it. But I couldn't remember the name. I had to look it up. I had to like describe it in Google, and Google found what the book was called. But the thing that got my attention, and the thing that got my attention about it, obviously, is the black man holding the cat on the cover. And I was like, holy shit, there's a cat in this. I completely forgot about that. And I was like, that's fucking weird, right? So I ended up watching the movie, and it's not really a full-length movie. It's like 55 minutes or something, and technically that's not a full-length film. So I think that would be more akin to like a made-for-TV kind of short, right? It's not really considered a movie, but it's I mean, it's close enough. But the cat in the movie, and I've been talking about cats a whole lot lately, especially the cat and Jesus thing, where, you know, I made AI generated images of Jesus holding a cat and feeding cats and all that. I've talked about that a few times already. And the one specific scene in the new motion picture, The King of Kings, that CGI movie where Jesus is holding a cat in that very specific way. So the cover of the book is this black man, this old black man, who just happened to be played by James Earl Jones, by the way. So that was fucking weird. Also, like, the guy who plays Timothy, his name is Timothy, the black man. He's played by Timothy in the movie. He's played by Timothy. He's played by James Earl Jones in the movie. So that was fucking strange. Also, the Darth Vader kind of weird shit. Really deep voiced, you know, guy. It was weird. I could tell he had a good time with that role. Like, he was hamming it up, man. He hammed it the fuck up for that role. I recommend that movie, man, just because how strange it is. But I guess I can go over the movie really quick. I made a GIF of the one little scene where
So, just because I feel like I'm gonna forget, I'm gonna bring that up. You mentioned that in this movie, this guy with the hammed it up acting or whatever, like over the top and shit. So I did listen to I don't know if that was I watched more gameplay from this other streamer. He literally streamed it once, and he basically said, "Man, this fucking Oblivion bores the shit out of me." This is what he was saying, and he's like, basically he was streaming it once, and then he said he's most likely not gonna play it again after that. But the remaster or whatever. It's funny too that you mentioned in this video that you never finished Oblivion because it got you bored, or it just didn't keep your interest long enough to finish it most times. And like, yeah, I mean, when you watch the gameplay of the game, there's a lot of fucking bullshit. Just like, I don't know what the hell they were doing. Like, the Mages Guild is pretty awful. Even though the Mages Guild, like, initial quests are kind of like, they're all like different, which makes them interesting. They're all different in their little ways. But they're so, in some cases, they're so mundane and like annoying that it's kind of obnoxious having to do it. If you play multiple playthroughs or whatever, obnoxious having to do that every time. You have to do all the stupid guild recommendation shit. Well, all the different guild halls. And then after that, the Mages Guild somehow kind of gets even worse, where it just is really lame and boring and just fucking like, literally you're just like genociding necromancers. Like there's like almost nothing interesting for it outside of that. It's surprisingly badly done, the Mages Guild in the Oblivion. It's kind of all just propped up by like the Thieves Guild and the Dark Brotherhood for the most part. Like the Fighters Guild is not awful, but it's not amazing either. It's definitely better than the Mages Guild. But with that, like I could see why people would find Oblivion like kind of like boring. And especially the main quest is pretty bad. Like, it drags on like way longer than it kind of needs to, and it does a lot of bullshit where you have to just kind of like go back and forth. It is pretty fucking bad. The main quest, actually gameplay wise. but yeah, I could see why people wouldn't be held in. And for my video, I hope that doesn't come off that way. I'm not like defending Oblivion as like this fucking masterpiece, like untouchable masterpiece game. I was just kind of making a kind of like observation. I'm like, oh, like they just had this remaster of this game, like of a game that was like visually very unique in that it didn't try to be like super ultra realistic or whatever. It just kind of tried to, from what I saw from it, for the time, it tried to make a game that was very naturally kind of pretty with the colors, like oversaturated high fantasy colors, and wasn't, at this time, it wasn't like when I guess games were bogged down by that attempt to make everything too super gritty, ultra realistic, super unsaturated colors, or like whatever, like brown and gray everywhere and kind of shit. Like it wasn't afraid to use the color. Like I remember in Oblivion, the fucking the final, or one of the final areas you went to for the main quest was what's his face's paradise or whatever the fuck. Like you were basically in like this guy's paradise, the this almost like Daedra realm kind of thing. But you know, like the mana thistle, I think they were called, the mana thistle that grew there. I don't think they grew anywhere else. They might have grown in some places, but they were a pretty rare plant. It was just the color of those plants in the environment mixed with like the green and everything else. It just looked so like it just looked so nice and pretty and like inviting or whatever, just so like naturally pretty. It was just like wow. To me, it just looked like really good, really nice. And the same thing could be said for the DLC, the Shivering Isles, where at least in the section of Mania with you know, like everything was like super saturated colors and everything, like that kind of stuff. And obviously that one quest, the painted world and everything looked like it was like painted, paintbrushed colors and everything. That was really cool. And other aspects of it too, like even though the voice acting was very cheesy, and in a lot of cases really not even that great, like there was something charming about it, and the way that it was like with the dialogue and how everything like looked, it kind of like melded, like meshed together well, even though it was like kind of like by itself, each aspect kind of seemed bad, but then put together it kind of like worked. But then when you have with this remaster, just from what I was seeing, it was just like the voices didn't match anymore. Maybe that could be said it's like what I remember and nostalgia, but the voices didn't match anymore with how it looked. Like the voice actors doing the lines that they didn't redo, or they didn't have new lines, like the old lines that they used, it just didn't like match well at all, especially with how fucking really. I was seeing more gameplay from that guy that was streaming it, and he had a negative opinion for the most part, but I was like, oh my god, these fucking faces are horribly ugly. Like even in Oblivion, they looked less like they didn't give you they weren't this like uncanny mixture of like trying to be realistic but like also really ugly, because in Oblivion it just looks so kind of like cartoony or whatever you want to say. Like it didn't look like super realistic, so that kind of like goofy weird look didn't make me just like cringe looking at it. But the fucking remaster shit, you got them talking, and it's like, oh my god, this fucking guy is ugly. This character is ugly to look at, and they're fucking so overly animated with their constantly moving their faces when they're talking. It was like, oh my fucking god. And he even mentioned like, why do some of these NPCs, they have gigantic mouths with small eyes and like beady eyes? It's just like horrible, like ugly monsters. unappealing looking monsters. I got my window open. She's asleep. Whatever. Fuck it. But because I know I'm being a little bit loud talking. But yeah, like, and the other thing with when you mentioned with the that's the main thing I was gonna bring up after you brought that up was the hamming it up. This actor. I was listening to some of the new voice lines that were like from these new voice, like for one, the new voice acting that they added, or the new voice, like it sounds like shit. Almost all the new lines and stuff from the new actors that are from different actors that I heard like sounds fucking terrible. Um, and they redid. I'm almost 100% they redid some of the old lines with the same actors. I think like the dark elf, um, the dark elf in Kvatch that's like screaming about how like they're doomed, like the Oblivion Gate, they're doomed, just run and shit, like freaking out. Uh, the redone voice, it sounds like the guy who is acting it, who redid the voice line. I'm pretty sure, like the same actor. I almost guarantee that they redid it. It's like he decided to ham it up so much. I was like, wow. Because, I mean, he was hamming it up in the original, but in this newer, it's like so, like, horribly hammed up. Like, he's purposely trying to make it sound awful. And, like, like fourth grade fucking theater class. I'm like, wow, what the fuck is this? Is, like, terrible. But, and I mentioned the audio stuff. Like, I'm a very audio, like, I'm not like an audio expert or anything. I'm definitely not. But I'm somebody who does notice stuff with audio, and I was like listening to this audio stuff in game, and I remember that like the attacks and stuff had like impact sounds and stuff. Like it didn't sound terrible. It didn't sound like amazing, but it sounded like meaty enough and good enough that it was like, you felt you were impacting the enemy. But these new ones that they did, or these redone ones, they're fucking awful. The guy playing Synthetic Man, this channel, the guy playing, he was using a fucking two-handed mace, and he was attacking the scamps and shit, and like any of the enemies, and the impact was so muffled, and like it didn't even sound like anything like a weapon impact. It just sounded awful. I was like, is this supposed to be redone? This fucking sounds like shit. Like, it didn't even sound satisfying whatsoever. But yeah, that was the main thing. Is like the acting was fucking the redone acting is fucking bad. And you mentioned that, and this guy was mentioning that it legitimately, that's how, like, I didn't think of that. I didn't even mention it, but it is like legitimately like they outsourced this shit to fucking like India or whatever, because this remaster is so cheap. Like everything is so cheap about it. It's just awful. Like really. And you mentioned at the end of this video, I remember that, like, if you decide to buy it or whatever, I don't give a fuck what you obviously decide to do or whatever. Like, I don't have any judgments if you decide to buy it or whatever, like, you're doing you're working and stuff. Like, hey man, if you want to spend your $50 on whatever, I couldn't give a shit. And, I'm not judging anybody for doing that. It's just, like, man, just me looking at these games that are being released now, and this remaster, I'm like, oh my god. It's so fucking cheap. It is so fucking cheap. Like, oh man. And I didn't play Starfield. I didn't buy it. Like, I would not want to. But I've seen some gameplay and I see people talk about it. And people forgot about it so quickly because it was ass. But in that same way, like, it legitimately, this remaster is just like a fucking Unreal Engine 5 mash amalgamation of Oblivion and Starfield, and it's fucking terrible. It's fucking terrible, man. Like, I was just watching that gameplay of the fight in Kvatch, and I'm like, oh my god. The only thing that I could see being like significantly better, or not even significantly better, but somewhat like a decent amount better to some extent, is like the monsters, like that kind of thing. But they weren't bad in Oblivion. Like, sure, the fucking goblins and scamps look goofy as fuck with their giant like fucking alien heads. But everybody else had the giant alien potato head, so it fit in that way. Um, but no, yeah. Besides that, like everything else, like the human enemies look like the monster, or the human characters look like the monsters. They're so fucking ugly. And yeah, the DEI fact, like the fucking Imperials, they used to be these fucking white guys, and then now they look like these fucking weird, like these weird, like fucking interracial mixture, like bastard children, like fucked up faces and like weird skin tones and shit. And it's like, this is supposed to be an Imperial or something, like a fucking white dude. It's like, what? They look awful. They talk awful. Their animations are terrible. The gameplay feel is fucking floaty and terrible. They didn't even do certain things that would make sense. Like, they didn't remove loading screens that were there for like reasons of performance and stuff or whatever. They didn't even do any of that. So you have stuff like constant amount of loading screens. I mean, of course they didn't do that, because if they did, they probably would have made the game even buggier. Because this is obviously such a cheap remaster or whatever. Cheap project. Sorry I went on a tangent there, but that's kind of a lot of the stuff I had to say about that from when I re-listening to your thing. But let's actually continue reacting to your actual words.
Cat is running on the island, and he gets attacked by a snake, and the snake misses him, right? So I've been dealing with the 88 synchronicity a whole lot lately, and to me, I think that's what the 88...
Yeah, there's something about the 88. What was the 88? It was, what was the 88? Oh, that was it. The Pope died on, like, 420, and he died at, like, 88, I guess. And then it's pretty funny that Oblivion released, like, 2 days after, and then it's 422, which I'm sure that probably has some meaning somewhere, some bullshit.
It kind of symbolizes, I've talked about Mal versus a Pep a few times.
And it is funny too that the 88 looks very similar to a 33. Like, you just take out a piece from the end, and then you got basically a 33.
Mal being the avatar of Ra, the sun god, and a Pep being the serpent, also known as Apophis, takes the form of a serpent, and Mal and a Pep are in a daily battle, like a constant battle. So the Egyptians have their mythology kind of revolves around a cat deity who fights a snake, and that was in the movie, so just weird shit like that. And the cat didn't fight the snake in the movie or anything. It was just kind of brief, but it was a gray tabby. That's the weird part about it, is it was one of those gray tabbies that have the M on its forehead, or not the M, but the scarab on its forehead. So that's just strangeness, because a lot of times these movies use the kind of cats that are easier to deal with, the cat breeds that are easier to deal with, the tabby cats, right? That would be the gray tabbies are easy to deal with, but usually if you ever see cats in films, it's usually an orange tabby, because they're just chill. They're just easy to deal with for the most part, right? There's going to be exceptions. So I just want to talk about that real quick. Weird synchronicity, just more strangeness, to pile on top of the strangeness that's been going on already. And Kirk brought up Oblivion, and he feels like that's a sync because apparently I talked about it recently in probably one of his comments section. I don't really remember. I probably brought up Oblivion when he was talking about Morrowind in one of his comments, right? One of his comment sections, one of his videos. But I don't remember. Like, I tried looking it up. I went through a few of his videos just to see, maybe I mentioned something like that, but I don't think I did. I might have. Alright, but before I get into that, so it's going to be one of those recordings, guys, where I'm eating. So I'm on lunch. I was actually going to wait to do this recording until I picked up my daughter from school, but I was like, you know what, I'm on lunch. Kirk's video is still fresh in my head, so I'll go ahead and talk about it. But first, I want to talk about another weird stink. So I was working out grocery earlier. I was working out at the groceries earlier, like the grocery section in our stock room. And I came across some pickles.
I'm just gonna say, I think you work for. I know you work for. I'm pretty sure you work for one of these pharmacy kind of like stores, whatever you either Walgreens or like CVS. I think you've mentioned the name. I think you've mentioned the specific name, probably CVS before. I think. Man, I've been to CVS's and stuff, pharmacies, whatever, CVS pharmacy, Walgreens. Who the fuck is going to these places and buying like food and like grocery items? I know there's like little. I know a lot of the time it's probably like because I think some of these places, a lot of them are still open 24/7. Because that used to be a thing years and years ago before the fake CV stuff happened. A lot of places were open like 24/7, these stores, and that's like not really a thing anymore after CV and shit. I don't know if these places like these CVS pharmacies are still like that though. But I imagine it's mostly like fucking stoners and like drugged out people that come to these places, like, or people that are like night shift workers and shit. But really, outside of that, who the fuck is going to these places and buying like grocery items? It's like, wow.
And I thought to myself, pickles are really good when they're frozen or really, really cold. Like you put them in the freezer for like an hour or two. They come out super good. They're fresh.
I've never had frozen pickles, but I'm sure that is pretty good. I've always quite liked chipped sliced pickles, like on like a burger or a sandwich or whatever. I don't like spear pickles that much. I don't know. It's like too much pickle at once unless you like nibble at it or whatever. Not that I completely like hate them or anything, but I definitely prefer the chip cut pickles more than the spear cut.
They just
But I like cucumbers. That's what pickles are, just pickled cucumbers. But yeah, I like pickles too. It's not one of those things that I eat like on a daily basis or whatever. Then again, I don't really eat many sandwiches anymore. I noticed that bread makes me feel shittier than most other things, like that kind of bread or whatever, like sandwich bread. So I don't really eat many sandwiches anymore.
Frozen pickles taste amazing, okay? And I got around to thinking, where did I get that from? It's like, oh yeah, this girl I used to work with is a black girl. Her name was Erica. And I was like, oh yeah, Erica really liked frozen pickles. We used to buy a jar in them.
This.
So when I told her I was thinking about,
I think I'll skip to this part where
fuck. Oh well.
The actual whatever stuff.
So
I'm probably gonna skip through a lot of it because I said.
Get to my Discord notes for this.
I said a lot of shit already.
Oblivion, the remake or the remaster, whatever you want to fucking call it. I don't know much about it. Off topic for a second. Fucking 4chan's down for like the past week. I think it's been about a week, 8 days or something like that.
And it's funny. A lot of the other guy that I was watching that was playing Oblivion, this synthetic man guy. I guess he was a V frequenter or somebody who would browse 4chan pretty often or whatever. I never liked how. I was never a huge fan of how 4chan was like formatted, so I never really liked browsing on there and stuff, even though I could see why people would like it. I never really had the desire to browse on it. I think it is pretty hilarious that after that hack or whatever, that I guess the website is still down. That's pretty fucking funny. Or at the very least in a fucked up state. But yeah, I get a lot of my gaming related news just kind of like usually recommended to me on like YouTube or some shit, and sometimes on Reddit, but really not that much. It just kind of just falls in my lap seemingly in a lot of cases. I guess that also that guy, that channel, he does a podcast. He calls it the Chudcast or whatever. Um, and he talks about like that. I think that was why. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was why I knew about the Oblivion remaster. I believe because in one of the podcasts like a few days ago, he talked about it. I think, and then I was like, wait a minute, it's released already? What? That was just fucking weird as shit.
Something like that. 4chan's been down, and 4chan is like has been my staple go-to kind of website on a daily for shit. I want to say 2005. So the past 20 years, I've been one of them 4chan people. One of them people you hear about, you know.
And yeah, sorry I'm like yawning so much. It's fucking late, I guess.
Infamous Anon. So I get my news, quote unquote, from 4chan regarding video games. I just hang out on their video game board for the most part. So I haven't heard much about when it comes to Oblivion, like if it's AI upscaled or has any AI voice or has any AI generated stuff in.
Now, I obviously have no evidence to back any of this up, but I have to guarantee, with how cheap, from what I've seen with this fucking remaster or whatever, with how cheap the entire thing just looks and feels, I guarantee there was some kind of AI shit involved, and it's like, hey man, whatever, but I guarantee there was some shit in there involved at some point, because it is just so incredibly cheap looking and feeling and everything. The entire thing.
Anything like that. I don't know much about it. I just heard about it literally yesterday around 5 p.m. a few hours before I went to bed. And I almost bought it. I almost bought it on a whim. And the only thing stopping me from buying it was the fact that it's 125 gigabytes.
My God. Yeah, I forgot, man. My hard drive is like a pretty small, I think it's 200 and something gigabytes, like SSD. I can't imagine playing any of these modern games. Fucking 125 gigabytes. That's fucking ridiculous, dude.
I got the hard drive space for it. And that didn't bother me, but the thing is, we're staying with my mother-in-law right now, so our internet is shit. Like, really bad.
Fucking, I can't imagine how long that would take to download for certain. Oh my God, that's ridiculous.
Like 30 megabytes a second or something like that. Like something ridiculously slow. And what's funny that 10 years ago that would have been a crazy speed. All right, to go over my comment, well, not my comment. I was actually in the middle of typing a comment out to Kirk or a response. I ended up not posting it because I was like, you know what? I'll just do a spoken audio thing. Kind of read off what I put. So I'm looking at my Discord notes right now. So read off what I put here. So when it comes to me in Oblivion, I tend to reinstall it every other year. Play it for 20.
I have not played it in a while, though. The last time I did play it, I did mod it quite a bit, and as it usually goes, it took me longer to get the whole modding thing set up and the whole like mod list set up and everything, and like in a stable enough way, and I actually didn't like continue to play it nearly as long as it took me to actually do that part. Like, it probably took me 3 or 4 times longer to do the whole modding process than it did than I actually played after that point. Even though it was cool, some of the mods from one of the like more, I guess, like well-known guys that did a bunch of overhauls and stuff were pretty damn cool. I'll give it that.
20 hours, 30, 40 hours, and then put it down. I've never beaten it. I've never beaten Oblivion. I don't know. It's not. I got nothing against the game.
And yeah, you're not really missing much. Not finishing or beating the game or whatever. It's fucking. The main story is one of the weaker parts, I would say, of Oblivion. That's my opinion. It is very tedious. Especially if you want to do some of the more optional parts, like getting all of the guards from all of the cities. So you have to close so many different Oblivion gates, but then it just fucking, they're just repeating after a while. It's very tedious.
Just I lose interest after like 30-ish hours, 40-ish hours, almost every time. So I probably got over 100 hours on it, like clocked in total on Steam, but I never finish it because it's just I just lose interest after, you know, after a few dozen hours. So but I like the game a lot. Like when I pick it up and play it after giving it a break for a while, it becomes kind of fresh. And I like it. I really like the atmosphere. It's like a single-player MMO, kind of, you know, if you want to think of it that way.
Makes me wonder if you would like Elder Scrolls Online. Like, I think in the last video I kind of talked shit about it, saying that it looks like it, but I think, well, I don't know. Nowadays, Elder Scrolls Online might not be that, like, worth playing, but I think it has its charm to it. Like, it basically is playing a single-player MMO in a lot of cases, kind of, but yeah, that it might have been a lot better a few years ago, but at this point, it's completely in maintenance mode, and it's like, yeah, a lot of aspects, like the fact that they made everything level scaled, like, yeah, it's probably not worth playing today, but there's some interest that could be had from it, I guess. And once again, it has that style that I mentioned that I'm like, it just looks like ugly. Like it's realistic, but trying to be fantasy, but it's like muddied. It's like real overly realistic, like gritty crap in a fantasy setting, and it makes everything just kind of look too generic at the same in the same breath.
So the remaster shadow dropping, I think that's the right term, right? I said
I mentioned, I don't even know how I mentioned the name, just the Elder Scrolls Online, the Elder Scrolls MMO.
the remaster shadow dropping caught me off guard as well. I saw the trailer and suddenly it was available on Steam, which was crazy marketing. Basically meaning there was no marketing. They just had the trailer basically dropped it the same day, right? From what I understand, Nintendo did the same thing when Metroid Prime released. And Metroid Prime was a game that I bought day one because of that. The Metroid Prime remaster just came out of nowhere. And I love that fucking game. I think it's like one of the best games ever. Like that's probably my top 20, like easily my top 20 when it comes to video games. Keep reading. I ended up buying that day one on a whim, and I ended up really liking it. I almost got Oblivion.
It's funny to me how much people like the Metroid series. It's not that I think it's bad or anything. It's just it was one of those series that I never really had like any interest in at all. I like the kind of theme of the games and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know. Metroid just never interested me. It like I know about Metroid. I know about various things about it. Like I'm somewhat well informed about it in that sense. But it was just one of those series that I never felt like playing. Never had the desire to. Even though of all the games, probably Super Metroid is the one that seemed the most interesting. Like if I was going to play any, I would probably play that one.
Last night, and the only thing keeping me from doing it was the 125 gigabyte download. That's what I just got through saying. Living with my mother-in-law, I just got through saying that. But I'm probably gonna wait to get it, or I might not get it at all. I might just reinstall the regular version. We'll see. It's got DEI bullshit in it, like the what's it called? Yeah, body type 1 and 2. I wrote that down as well. Part of the censoring, or I don't know if that's really censoring.
I didn't notice that part because I didn't watch enough of the character creation shit. I don't even know what that means. Body type 1 and 2. I'm guessing it's saying like you can make a female body with a male head and a male head with a female body or whatever, something like that, I'm guessing. Or the body type 1, body type 2 just meaning that they don't want to say man or woman or female, male. I'm going to guess that's probably what you mean with the body type 1 and 2. So yeah, that is fucking stupid shit, but who would have guessed?
That's more akin to just, you know, DEI nonsense. the fucking BlackRock bullshit.
Yeah.
And I don't, that stuff like that leaves a bad taste in my mouth, and it's really hard to ignore it when these creepy assholes are just so in your face about it by changing the genders to body type 1 and 2. They did that for the last Monster Hunter game as well. And I think they all...
I mean, it's one of those things that it's like, end of the day, it doesn't really matter, but it just shows you what direction that they're trying to bring things, and it's like the player just saying screw it, like whatever, I don't care or whatever, or just saying like, yeah, I'll just ignore it. It's kind of like a what would you call it, a capitulation or whatever the word would be. It's like a giving in, just saying, all right, screw it, I don't care about if you push that stuff, just let me play the game or whatever. Like, just yeah, I guess a capitulation to it kind of deal. Not that it, like, you know, as I'm saying, not that it really matters that much to me, because I just don't play these games, I guess, but that is something I would see, yeah, it would bother me. I'd be like, man, fuck you. Even though I know how this place works, but it's just like, yeah, I wouldn't want to support that kind of, or like deal with that shit, because it's like, hey, it's clear that what you're trying to, this agenda you're trying to push or whatever.
Also did that for Dragon Warrior 3, that HD remaster I talked about. So it's gonna be in everything now, because I don't know, they're just so afraid of offending these weirdos. The people that aren't even buying their video games, you know, like,
that's part of it. I mean, obviously that's part of it. These people that are working on these games are on the download. Maybe not exactly all of them to the same extent, but they are on the download, and they're just like, all right, well, we just have to, you know, don't put male, female, put body type 1, body type 2, or whatever, that kind of shit. But it is also a factor of where the funding comes from or whatever, which I know this comes down to, you know, the money doesn't really matter, and it's true, it doesn't, or it's not about the money kind of deal. But I'm sure that is some kind of factor here where it's like, oh yeah, if we do this, you know, our funding department or whatever, our funding department, our funding specialist, our finances said, you know, if we do these certain things, then we'll get more funding or whatever, or instead of losing funding, we'll gain more funding or whatever, that kind of shit. So it's just being pushed all around in every single way, either through the download, through the financial incentives, as you said, like, you know, these supposed companies like these entities like BlackRock and all that kind of shit pushing this stuff, Sweet Baby Inc., whatever, those kind of things.
These people, you're not even getting your money from these people, and you're basically bowing down and taking the knee to them, taking the knee for them, or however it's put.
And yeah, these you know, I mean, I know these developers and these people that are working on these games, like, most of them are to an extent on the download. But yeah, they're still cowards. Like, I would still consider people that are fully on the download like that cowards, even if they don't really realize what they're kind of doing to an extent. They're still a fucking pussy. That's how I would see it.
Oh yeah, I watched I watched Darkside Phil kind of fumble through it, and I didn't actually watch a stream. I watched Tevin talk about him for a little bit. He just fumbled around in the tutorial area for like 30 minutes, and then I had to go to bed. But he was from what little he played, I mean, it seemed okay. It looked fucking weird, like Oh,
that was another thing. They have these fucking like visual effects that they have, like, say in the sewer, they have like the water like moving, like flowing or whatever. But it's so, like, cheap and lazy when the game freezes for stuff like opening the inventory of something or, like, talking to somebody. When the game world behind you freezes, stuff like that. I'm guessing they do it through some kind of, like, shader shit in Unreal or whatever. But it doesn't freeze those shader things, those shader animations or effects. So in the background you have this moving water, but everything else is fucking frozen in time. It's just like, just cheap, retarded looking stuff. Fucking amateurish bullshit or whatever.
Like Kirk said, like, it looks strange in a sense where it's like...
And the styles don't match. Like, they got, like, certain assets and shit. Like, I see, like, the chest and the barrels that look like they were taken right from Oblivion, but then everything else, like, looks ultra, like, realistic, kind of, or whatever, like, different. It's just like they just mashed them together, like, two completely different styles put together. It's just fucking weird.
Little dialogue thing when you talk to an NPC and it zooms in and all that is fucking weird. And Kirk had mentioned that Starfield did that, and I completely...
Yeah, I mean, they just straight up lifted it from that, like, the Starfield bullshit, and it's fucking awful. It looks terrible.
And I mean, completely forgot about that fucking game. You want to talk about a game that was just not on my radar at all? Starfield would be it.
I mean, yeah,
and,
it shouldn't be.
I kind of remember
awful.
it is because there's Garfield memes about Starfield that I thought were really funny back when it first came out.
Yeah, there was. I kind of forget about
like,
that, though.
I think my buddy played it. I have a buddy from Texas named Dave. I think Dave played it. He liked it. I mean, he's kind of a normie when it comes to video games.
I mean, like, even me. That's the thing, is, like, it doesn't really matter if these especially these normies, like these things. Even me, if somebody gave it to me for free for, like, a few hours, to say, oh yeah, play Starfield on, like, somebody's computer or some shit. If I was just playing it, I'd probably enjoy it for that short amount of time, but then I would realize, like, I would not want to play it long term, but I would just realize, like, I would see, like, yeah, that was fucking, like, garbage. But, you know, you could still have fun with it. So, they, like, when these normies say that they had fun with it, they don't really have any frame of reference, or they just don't have any, like... It's like one of those things, they play with a toy. It's just like, oh yeah, you know, I played with the action figure for a little while, and yeah, that was fun. But they have, like... It's kind of like my dad when I talk to him about, like, certain, like, foods and stuff. Like, he can't describe things in a very articulate or, like descriptive way about it. So it's like, oh yeah, that tasted good or whatever. It's kind of the same thing with these fucking normies. Like, they don't have, like, any ability to explain these things on, like, a kind of, like, a deeper level. It's just, like, a very base, like, oh yeah, that tasted good. Oh, yeah, I had some fun with that. That was cool. But that's it. Like, there's no depth to it, at all. So that, you know, that's why for me it's like the opinions of these like NPCs or whatever these normies or whatever. Like, it's just, there's so, like, little to it that it, like, almost means nothing.
A little bit. He's very on the frequency, on the download. Not so much for the DEI shit, but when something new comes out, right, like Baldur's Gate 3 or whatever, which is another game that wasn't on my radar at all, just because of the DEI shit. It's like, dude, it's like that stuff is just so off-putting to me. The way it's just being forced down everybody's throats when it comes to, like, Baldur's Gate 3 and Starfield, and now this Oblivion Remaster. It's like, y'all aren't getting my money, that's for fucking sure. And if I'm not gonna, and if I do play your fucking game, I'm gonna pirate it. Like, I'm not.
I kind of wish that when I played that game, Path of Exile, not Path of Exile, I'm sorry, that's the wrong game. Pathfinder Kingmaker. When I played Pathfinder Kingmaker, I did enjoy that game. And I played it like, it was like, the game went on way too fucking long, but it was like over 200 hours that, for me, just completing the game once, I was like, oh my god. I mean, yeah, it didn't need to take that long. I'm very slow when it comes to these kind of, like, how I play. I play very slowly and shit, but it went on way longer than it needed to. But I enjoyed the game. But if I went through it, like, not even with that much of a fine-tooth comb, like, I was even noticing stuff while I was just playing it. I was just like, man, you know, the kind of, like, themes and probably DEI stuff. It didn't really feel like that intrusive, but I did notice it, and it definitely was there. Definitely was there.
Giving you on the dime. Like, just legit. Like, that's just the way it's gonna be. But anyway, Starfield, when Kirk said that word, I was like, oh shit. I completely forgot about that. Jesus Christ. But I heard it was like weird. It had like weird nuances to it as well. Kind of like this.
Starfield was like the definition of a open world RPG that was completely soulless or whatever. If you want to even call it that, like open world RPG, it was just like the definition of a generic, themeless almost. Like there was no like overlying theme that the whatever like designer would have kept in place while the game was being made. It just fucking was like an amalgamation of like sci-fi garbage with no like direction. And it just made like a unmemorable, crappy game, like relatively shitty game, like compared to other stuff that was better that Bethesda has made. It was, and for how much time was put into it, supposedly like 10 years or whatever the fuck it was, like it was a piece of shit, and almost nobody talks about it anymore because it was crap. It was unmemorable garbage that had no reason to exist.
New Oblivion is. I'm probably gonna look at more gameplay. Maybe I'll watch Phil. You know, me and Phil are buddies. Me and Philip Burnell are good friends, so I'll tune into his stream and watch him play for a little bit. And he's really the worst person you should be watching to get a grasp on any game. But
yeah, I mean, I'll give Phil. I mean, I think there's, you know, the pig roach or whatever. I'll give Phil this, is that he is obviously good enough at being a clown or entertaining enough to enough people to still support himself to this day with doing what he does or whatever. So I give him credit there. And he seems to have a little bit of that kind of like wholesomeness, quote unquote wholesomeness or charm or whatever to him. So you gotta give him some credit there. But yeah, he is obviously very bad at games and very good at making excuses
I already
for
know he's bad
himself.
at games, so I can go into it, you know, without a problem, really. Like I said, I still might get it. $50. I mean, I was expecting it to be 80, but that's just
Or Nintendo. What the fuck is Nintendo with the latest or the upcoming Mario Kart game on the Switch 2 or whatever is like 90? Like that's gonna be the norm now, $90 or some
the way
bullshit.
the world is working right now. But $50, yeah, I spend that, you know, going out to El Paso from getting some fucking food for the.
My fucking parents, they went to a casino a few days ago, you know, real smart on them, but they went to a casino a few days ago, and I knew, like, I even told my dad, I was just like, I just know how they work, or how my mom works especially, like, I was like, I know when you come back from the casino, you're gonna go to that Burger King, and you're gonna come home after eating some Burger King or whatever. And what did he say? He got, like, 4 double cheeseburgers or some shit, 2 large fries and like 2 medium fries or something. That's what they got, and it was like 20-something bucks, which is pretty cheap when I think about it, because I think about all these other times they've went out to get like that kind of stuff, like fast food, and it's fucking stupidly expensive now, like $60 just for like a few things at a Chinese place. I'm like, oh my god, I can't believe people are still spending money on some of this bullshit. Like, it is so absurdly expensive to eat out or whatever. At these fast food places, like even just going to a sit down restaurant, even though it's not cheap, is like actually seems cheaper. It's weird.
Family sometimes, so it's like, damn. I haven't bought a game in a while either, so maybe I don't know, maybe I'll still get it, who knows. Anyway, I'm gonna cut off the recording here, and I'll record more later. Take it easy. What's up, guys? This is part 2. It's raining, because I'm about to go get my daughter from school. It's raining, so I'm probably gonna have to speak up. We'll see how it goes. So to get back into it, let's get in the rain first and see how it sounds. God, it's kind of loud. Jesus. I think I'll be alright. I just gotta speak up a little bit. That I don't remember exactly what Kirk said, but he said something along the lines of like, everybody's so desperate. You know, despite the fact that there's literally thousands of games on the PSN network, you know, Sony's network, and
Yeah, I don't know. It's just so fucking weird to me that, as you're saying, like there's thousands and thousands and thousands of games and other things that people could be doing with their time, or like playing games that they've never played before, whatever. But for whatever reason, this shitty, cheap Oblivion remaster, people are just fucking chomping at the bit to get right to it. Like, literally, like, people that don't even stream games most of the time. Like, people that are fucking, like, just, like, this one channel that does, like, D&D, like, drawn, like, animation stuff, was doing, like, a stream playing, the Oblivion remaster. I'm like, what the fuck is this? What is so intriguing about this that people are just going nuts, all like, now we have to stream it now? It's like, why?
and Xbox Live or whatever the fuck, and Steam and GOG, you know, GOG, and all that stuff. Like, despite there being literally thousands of options for video games, like, you can run, I think it's called DOSBox, and you can, like, play old PC games from, like, the fucking 80s. Despite all that, you know, despite all the options, you got emulators, right? You got emulation. You can emulate these obscure, like, you know, PC-88 Japanese computer, whatever the hell. Like, despite all that, everybody...
It's just like, I mean, not surprising. It's just like cheap behavior. Like, all of them just following the fucking... It's just all following each other or whatever. Following the leader. Not even the leader, just following whoever. Following whoever they see. Bah, bah, bah. Just follow the same person. Oh, yeah, Oblivion Remaster? Oh, yeah, I gotta play that, too.
is still... They're so desperate for, like, a new release. So, Oblivion Remaster gets shadow dropped, right? Everybody goes fucking nuts. So Oblivion Remastered gets shadow dropped, and the whole world goes crazy, right? The internet goes crazy. And a lot of y'all probably didn't hear about it because most of my subscribers aren't going to be gamers, right? So this is very limited to someone like me or someone like Kirk who's listening to this, where it's like the internet went bananas over this Oblivion Remaster release. Put in my Discord notes, it's kind of funny. I forgot I put this. I said, everybody's willing to, like, suck the wine out of the rug, so to speak. Where it's like they'd rather look for a crumb, right? Like Kirk said, he's looking for a crumb of just, like, anything. Like, they're even willing to put up with some kind of half-assed, and I don't know how half-assed it is, right? Because I haven't played it, but
Yeah, I don't know. It's like, I mean, maybe the analogy where I know you're not a fan of dogs and stuff would be like the analogy, like a fucking dog that's just starving and fucking begging for table scraps. Like, just the fucking the shit on the table, just fucking, they're just begging for it because there's nothing. Apparently for them, there's nothing else. They're just fucking, they're going for the any little crumbs. They're so desperate and starving. It's like they just go for anything. It's like fucking pathetic to watch. Really, it's just like, oh my god, like, just, as I said, chomping at the bit for anything that even resembles something new or whatever. And it's not even new. It's a shitty remaster, a cheap remaster.
kind of soulless. Kirk referred to it as soulless. And yeah, dude, like, I get it. A soulless cash grab remaster. Ain't no telling if they, like, the GTA trilogy remaster, like that fucking garbage fire, that trash bin fire that was the GTA Trilogy remaster, where it's like they just sent it off to Pakistan or some shit to get remastered,
And I guarantee that a lot of that shit happened in this case. I guarantee a lot of that. Maybe not all of it, but I guarantee a lot of it.
call it a day, and they just deal with the bugs afterwards. And Oblivion was a fucking mess to begin with, you know? Like, you can't, like, you can, but really, though, you can't really play vanilla Oblivion, right? You can't play Oblivion without mods. You could try.
And isn't that something that's crazy to think of? Oblivion came before Fallout 3. So, like, Oblivion was, like, the original, like, version of that kind of game with that kind of, like, way that the engine worked and stuff. Like, in Morrowind, you had the very static and, like, static and not, like, not... I guess that, like, the very static and stiff kind of, like, characters and certain animations and stuff, and the way that, like, characters reacted with the world and stuff. The physics was very simple and stuff. I don't even know if there was really any physics in that game, but originally. But then in Oblivion, that's when the original, like, version of that engine was basically created, where they had the stuff like Havoc, the Havoc physics engine implemented and stuff like that. And it was extremely, as you said, extremely fucking buggy, a buggy ass mess. Still to this day makes it difficult for people to mod it for how, like, buggy and shit it was, or is, or whatever. But and then they were able to refine it more with stuff like Fallout 3, Fallout 3's engine, which was just a evolution of that to an extent, and then it just kind of went from there with stuff like Skyrim and shit like that. And obviously this remaster is probably still using the same logic. I think they mentioned that it's using the same, like, Gamebryo logic, I guess, but the visual stuff is being handled by Unreal Engine or whatever. But yeah, it just looks fucking... And it is soulless fucking garbage. Unreal Engine, like, cash grab, soulless asset flip kind of crap. I don't know, it just looks bad. It just looks, sounds, and plays bad from what I could see. It's just in every aspect.
And probably maybe get through it, right? Like I said, my frame of reference is a little limited because I haven't beat it, and I always play it with mods anyway. Like, I always play it with the bugs fix mods and all that shit that people recommend you do. So I don't really know how feasible it is to beat Oblivion without mods. I'm pretty sure there's plenty of people out there who played it on Xbox or whatever, who beat it without mods, because you don't really have a choice when it comes to console, right? So I don't know, like the point of my comment, or the point of what I'm saying is, like, it is tangibly related, where it's like nobody's willing, they're able but unwilling to get out of their comfort zone, right? And I'm like that too. Like, right now, this sounds a little nutty, but I got 2, maybe 3 if you want to stretch it out to this, but I'm playing 3 versions of Secret of Mana right now. Like, and I know it sounds stupid as fuck, but Secret of Mana for the Super Nintendo.
I will say I remember when, like, probably over a decade ago, when I was playing around with, like, Super Nintendo emulators and stuff, or on a Super Nintendo emulator, and just playing, like, a whole bunch of ROMs. I at some point got to play, I did play Secret of Mana for a little while. I think I got to that boss that it's like, it's basically you're fighting a wall, like it's got like 3 eyes or some bullshit that all open and you kind of damage them and then they close and they do different things. I think I got to that boss. I just could not, after that point, stay with the game or whatever. It just felt so I just did not like it, and it was probably a part of the fact that it was the turn-based stuff. It was just the mixture of the turn-based shit. It just felt so fucking janky and clunky, the combat. I was like, oh, I can't deal with this anymore. I was like, fuck it. But yeah, I don't think it's a bad game or whatever. I don't really I couldn't really get past the way that it played, and I was like, I don't like this. It was just fucking felt weird as shit. And as you said, I would hope that if it was the real time version instead of the turn based kind of weird stuff that it went with, it hopefully would be better then. But yeah, and Magic felt like such ass just because of the turn based mixture shit, and it was just like, what the fuck? I could not like get into that nearly, like, at least not to get past that part. I was like, I can't continue with this. It was just like, I'm not enjoying myself anymore.
I'm playing the turbo, how could I call it? It's a ROM hack, so I just call it a ROM hack. So it's a ROM hack for Secret of Mana called Turbo. It's just called Turbo, Secret of Mana Turbo. And so I'm playing that, which turns it more into an action game rather than a turn-based RPG. That it's kind of is. It's like a pseudo turn-based RPG.
It's probably how it should have been from the beginning.
Mana is. It's the second Detsetsu series, the second game in the series, and I'm playing a modded version of that. You can call it a mod, right? Because it's basically a mod. It's not really a ROM hack. I mean, it is, but it isn't. It's a mod in the sense where you actually, when you download the UI, when you download the program, to patch the ROM. It's actually like a separate program with its own UI and interface and all that, and you kind of pick and choose what you want to install or what you want to overwrite the ROM with. So it's more of I would call it more of a mod than a ROM hack, and I don't even know if that's technically correct. It don't really matter.
It doesn't really matter, but I think that would be considered a ROM hack because it's literally changing. It's literally, the fuck is the term? It's literally changing either hex or just directly bytes within the, at least from what it sounds like you're explaining it. It's literally changing bytes within that ROM. And then say if you wanted to use that ROM again, you'd have to either have to get a fresh ROM, or you'd have to ROM file, or you'd have to somehow unpatch what you changed. Like I had to do this with what was it? I don't know if it was Earthbound that I had a little ROM hack something, or if I think it might have been Mother 1 that it had like a ROM hack that I played. And I had to do that shit where it like patched the ROM file and stuff. So I think that's technically a ROM hack. Whereas like a mod, I don't really know the difference either in that sense, but yeah, just technicality, I guess.
Call it a ROM hack is weird. But anyway, so I'm playing that. I'm playing Secret of Mana Turbo.
What you might be thinking about would be something like an overhaul. Maybe that's what you're assuming a ROM hack is, like where it's like everything, like a total, either total conversion or a overhaul or some shit, where everything is changed in some way or something.
I'm gonna get through that, and I'm also playing Secret of Mana Remake, which I think came back in 2017, the remaster, quote unquote, and I'm playing that at the same time, and I downloaded the Android version of Secret of Mana because I wanted to try it, because I have my little, I got a little handheld device called the Metroid Pocket 3 Plus, and it runs on Android, so I can run the Secret of Mana Android version on that, and I wanted to try it out. It was like, I think it was $7. So you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna buy it, I'm gonna see if it runs. If it doesn't run, I'll just refund it, because I know Google Play is pretty lenient when it comes to refunds. So I was like, I'll just refund it if I don't like it, and it runs fine. I played it for like 2 hours, it ran great, and it looks a little tiny bit better than the Super Nintendo version. In some places, it's a little rougher on the edges, but it works with the gamepad and everything, so it's cool. I was like, oh, okay, I'll play this too. So I'm playing 3 versions of Secret of Mana right now. Like I said, which sounds fucking nutty, but that's what I've been spending my free time with, and you can argue that it's a waste of time, but you know what? It's not a waste of time to me because I'm having fun. But anyway, I'm probably gonna finish the Turbo version first, and then I'm gonna move on to the remake. But anyway, I'm saying this because I'm talking about people in their comfort zones, right? I'm saying, like, even me, like, I have an issue with coming out of my comfort zone. You know what I mean? Like, I'm still playing this fucking game from like 30 years ago that I have a lot of nostalgia for. You know, me and my best buddy Tony were playing back in the day.
Well, I mean, yeah, I completely understand the idea of the staying within your comfort zone and stuff. But I mean, it's like, yeah, why, to an extent, why would somebody, if somebody knows that there is something that they enjoy doing and they already kind of know what to expect. It's similar to people that watch like a series, rewatch a series, even though they've watched it like 100 times, or watch a movie, like they know exactly every line and stuff and everything. It's, they know what to expect, and they know they'll enjoy it. So that's why they do it, because they know what to expect and they know they'll enjoy it. So they just do it because they're like, hey, I know what I want from this experience. So I'm just going to, even though I've watched it 1,000 times, just watch it again. But that's the thing that's kind of strange in this case, where it's like, you're getting the remaster, but it's like, well, why not just, to some of the things, to some of these people, well, why not just play the original then, if that's something that was within your comfort zone, I guess. But yeah, I know what you mean. It's just like the Bethesda kind of formula of games is what people are kind of looking for, that comfort zone. I mean, that's why people probably bought the shit like Starfield, because they're like, oh yeah, I know what to expect from Bethesda games to an extent. And that's kind of sort of what I like, even if it's kind of shitty. But it's funny because it just keeps getting shittier and shittier. The way that the Bethesda is doing it, so it's just funny. It's like they're just playing shittier and shittier versions every time the new stuff gets released. How ironic.
We double teamed that game and beat it, and I have nostalgia for that. So like, I'm kind of reliving that, and I like the game. It's a good game. Like, there's nothing wrong with it. So it's a good game on its own, even as a single player game. So I'm having a good time. I don't remember a lot about it after a certain point. So it's kind of interesting to see what happens in the game after being on like a hiatus for so long, you know? But that's what's been.
I don't know why I just thought about this, but you brought that up. Fucking, I don't know if you know the game Lufia and Lufia 2. The main one that I'm thinking about is Lufia 2. I played a little bit of that. I tried to get past it, or try to get through it and stuff. I just couldn't, like, get past it. Fucking, that game's story is fucking weird to me. And it's like, I guess it's one of those, like, Japanese culture, or Japanese culture, or Japanese tropes intersecting with, like, my own, which would be, like, the more American kind of way of thinking. It's just weird the way that they had, like, the main character. There's there's this girl that likes him in the initial town that he's in, that the hero that you're playing, or whatever, that the main guy that you're controlling, Lufia, I guess. There's this girl, and then he kind of just, like, after a while, he kind of just dumps her, even though she seemed like a pretty, like, he dumps her for this other girl because he likes to fight. It's like such a generic fucking thing, like, I just like to fight, kind of like fucking Goku, like the Goku mentality. But he likes this other chick because she likes to fight too, like fucking Goku mentality. And then they get fucking married, and then they have kids, or then they have a kid. They fucking have a kid, and then the story, like, progresses after that somewhat, where the kid gets dragged into this initial conflict. I guess that's what they try to do. Like, he's you getting your baby stolen now is your son stolen now is, like, your main motivation to continue fighting these beings, or whatever, these forget what the fuck they call them in the game, but And then the ending was fun. Yeah, it was just a fucking weird game, and there was something about the story and how it like was that like maybe Japanese kind of like culture. It was just fucking weird to me. Like, it was like an anime, and I'm sure it was more based off of kind of like an anime kind of thing, but like anime tropes with like the way the relationships worked and stuff like, I don't know. It was just fucking strange. There were certain cool things about the game, but I just couldn't get past certain stuff like that. That the story just like was weird to me. And the way that they looked at the kind of relationships, I don't know, it was just weird to me. And I guess the gameplay wasn't like, it was decent, but it was just strange, like the fucking item system, like it was more like magic items, but you just kind of keep spamming them. It was cool that you could do like kind of in Final Fantasy, I think, where you could split up, you could have like a heal spell, cast it on one person, it would heal them like a lot, but then you can instead split it to do the whole party or whatever. I think you could do that in a lot of the Final Fantasy games, but that was kind of neat, I guess. Like a lot of the combat was more based off of like your items in that sense than your equipment more than your characters. It was just weird, but I don't know why I brought that up. It just made me think about that.
Going on with me. And like I said, and just to drive the point home of, I'm not coming out of my comfort zone, and that's just the way people are, right? They do what's familiar. Bethesda games tend to kind of play the same, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So a lot of people kind of gravitate towards that Skyrim, Oblivion interface, like Starfield and all that. So it's like a comfort zone for them. And as soon as like Oblivion comes out, it's like, holy shit, I want to play that. Or maybe people that never played it before are like, oh, it's like Skyrim, only with these different kinds of swords. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people say Fallout is just Oblivion with guns and all that. So it's
yeah,
like,
I mean, it's not that far
Oblivion
off.
is like Fallout with swords. It's stupid, okay? It's a dumb joke. But that's just the way people's brains work, Oh, hey, that person got a Darth Vader sticker. Speaking of James Earl Jones, they got a Darth Vader sticker in the back of their car. Wow. Fucking stupid. But like I said, in my little notes, I just said, yeah, that's pretty much, I think that pretty much covers that. Let me pump some gas and I'll talk some more. Testing, yep. Alright, to get back into it, just to comment real quick about what Kirk was talking about World of Warcraft. Talking about the way he was kind of leading that person, that undead chick, around, kind of like a tour guide, and how amazing, kind of how the zone, like your first time, the first time being in these zones is always amazing, because I'm one of those people too where it's like, I like exploring new zones and stuff like that whenever I play a game, especially an MMORPG. I have a lot of
You probably would enjoy, in that sense, the MMO Guild Wars 2. Guild Wars 2 has when I played it, at least years back, with a friend, a previous friend, but when it was a game that was definitely emphasized a lot on the world, like exploration stuff. I don't know if I could recommend it. Like, it was fun, and it did have some cool exploration. They definitely emphasized certain things like little platforming puzzles here and there, the exploration of finding points of interest and stuff like that, just walking around. I found the warrior class was the most fun with a one-handed sword in the main hand, because it gave you this fucking long ass, pretty short cooldown, like lunge, and it just made it so you felt like in that kind of exploration, you just uh, kind of like with a mage's blink, kind of, but even more, like more enjoyable than that because you actually like lunged forward, like jumped forward and stuff. So that was pretty cool. Uh, Maybe you'd like that Guild Wars 2. If you like that exploration aspect, because that game definitely has a pretty heavy focus on that.
A game I really liked doing that in was a game called when I played Final Fantasy 11 back in 2000 2004. Yeah, 2004. From like 2004 to I want to say 2003 to 2005 when I played Final Fantasy 11 as a young adult. Exploring in that game, like the zones in that game were amazing. So it was always cool to explore in a game like that, and just any game like that really, like even a game like Oblivion or even Skyrim. The only game I didn't get that kind of urge or nostalgia for was when I played Final Fantasy 14. I mean, the zones in that game were cool, but you weren't really given an incentive to explore. Like, it wasn't that interesting, in my opinion. But to what Kirk was saying, where it's like these zones or these areas in the game have interesting lore to them, right? Like, it's interesting to find out what happened in a place like Thousand Needles, right? You know, the developers or whoever, the story writers, the people who...
Like, one of my favorite things about Vanilla WoW's, something I never really thought about, but then you kind of notice later on, it is very cool. Like, it was clear that for most of the zones, they had a sort of underlying story planned for each one. Like, that's kind of what they were kind of trying to go for. Like, it could be seen with the Scyllithids and the Scyllithid race being introduced very gradually throughout the zones in Southern Kalimdor. Yeah, Southern Kalimdor. Starting at the Southern Barrens, you can see, you have the quest with the Scyllithid, like these like very weak Scyllithids, but getting established. And then in Thousand Needles, within the Shimmering Flats, you have the Scyllithids still like the Scyllithids being there in a bigger presence, but still not that big. Basically just taking over a mine instead of just having like these little like ant nests and stuff like here and there. And then you have in Tenaris, where it fucking accelerated like pretty goddamn crazy, where it's like, fuck, you got like two or three like pretty goddamn giant like underground nest taking up these whole area, like whole sections of the map. And then you get to Unguro Crater. It's weird that Unguro Crater is not that affected. It's only got one pretty big hive. And then obviously in Silithus, that's where the Encourage and the Scyllithid race is located, and it's just like a hellscape to some extent. Like, then you got that kind of story, and then you got other stories like, obviously with the human races, or the humans starting the human areas or whatever. You have this stuff with the Defias, the story behind the Defias, Edwin Van Cleef, Dead Mines. That even leads to the Stockades, and then that even leads to what is it? The Stockades? And is there anywhere else that leads from? I forget. But I mean, the Dead Mines and the Stockades have connections. Yeah, I'm drawing a blank on the other dungeon. That might be the two, but then there's that connection with, like, you know, how Stormwind has been affected and why the Defias even exist. And then you realize, like, obviously later on in Endgame from with Onyxia, is that King Varian Rin is missing because he's been basically, like, imprisoned or some shit like that on that, like, island that's off in Dustwallow Marsh. Or some shit like that, Alcatraz, whatever the fuck, you know, it's an Alcatraz parody or whatever. And the Lady Onyxia is manipulating the court, causing these kind of things to an extent, like causing the shit, like the doing this on purpose from behind the scenes, trying to manipulate the shit to make it collapse and stuff. There's a few other ones. Then you got like Twilight Hammer in the Twilight Hammer cultist in Northern Kalimdor that the Night Elves and shit have to deal with, or at least you initially find them, and then you have more interactions with them later on with the Twilight Hammer cult, obviously in Fellwood. Where else are they? They're in Darkshore. That's where they kind of start, and then you have them later on in Fellwood. But then there are some other places, obviously in Silithus. Oh yeah, in BFD, so in Ashenvale, yeah, in Ashenvale. So like all these sections of the world, like they have a connection with this kind of trying to like these like underlying stories and stuff, which I wasn't necessarily talking about that. I was mostly talking about this person was like amazed by the visual aspects of it, but the kind of lore stuff is very cool too, and I think Vanilla WoW did a better job being subtle with this, whereas then like later on it became a lot more overt with the stories, like the entire every quest in throughout the after Cataclysm and stuff, where they redid a lot of these places. Every quest was like related to these kind of stories, but very overt and like overproduced or whatever, like very linear feeling kind of. It wasn't something you could really miss. But yeah, that's why I liked Vanilla WoW's design of the quest design of the not all of the zones, because there was obviously zones that were just very unfinished, like Ajara, but a lot of the zones I liked.
Who designed the zones? They just copy real life, right? Because real life is the best reference. As an artist.
And yeah, they copied real life with like the salt flats and like the desert dunes and shit like that, and the jungles.
It's like you reference real life in order to make your fantasy world seem alive. You're gonna reference real life stuff, IRL stuff, you know. So, with that said, I don't know if Kirk, talking to Kirk directly, I don't know if you played during Cataclysm, but you know, they destroyed all those zones for this.
Yeah, I played during Cataclysm. I played, I think, basically like I basically played like every expansion from the beginning to an extent around those times. I think the only time that changed was maybe like after Mr. Pandera. No, I think I even played. There was times where I didn't play it like immediately after an expansion release, but it was like generally around those times. I think Legion was actually the one that I never played ever, and then after that. So like after Warlords of Draenor, basically. But yeah, I played Cataclysm. I thought there was a lot of cool stuff that Cataclysm did, obviously. Like every expansion does cool stuff to an extent. But yeah, I think Cataclysm did more bad than good, like by a significant margin, I think. Even though it was cool that they made some of the zones that were obviously unfinished in vanilla, they gave them some more touching up and stuff, but they made everything else like almost so much worse and so much less interesting. You know, they had fucking like the Barrens was split in half, and it was already split in half, but they literally split it in half. Just like so many of the other things, like so many of these quests getting redone, and they made it all so like linear and like overproduced or whatever. Like there were, even though there was quests here and there that were like more, you'd have to find them through exploration, most of them weren't. You didn't have to do like any further explanation to find some of these areas and stuff. It was just like all like condensed into like a little, like legitimately a theme park, as people call it, theme park MMO, like legitimately being put on a roller coaster and just riding through it kind of shit.
Sake of their dumb story. I think was it Blackwing? I think it was Blackwing or
Deathwing. Stupid Deathwing.
One of those fucking characters. You know, goes around and destroys the whole world or whatever, causes earthquakes and all that bullshit. And the thing that stuck out to me about Thousand Needles is that it was flooded. Like,
yeah, it's Thousand Needles. I think most people disliked what happened there. Like, I guess kind of interesting that literally the entire zone just being flooded, but the actual like gameplay. Not that I ever enjoyed Thousand Needles that much in Vanilla WoW. It's not like it's an interesting zone in terms of like visual stuff and design, but the actual like questing experience wasn't exactly like something that I enjoyed going towards, like compared to any other zones, particularly. And it always felt like it was such a fucking long trek between the areas, but it didn't change with Cataclysm. They just said, okay, now you get these stupid ship mounts or whatever. And then you went to the Shimmering Flats, which that was ruined because it was all flooded. So all you saw was the underwater parts of it. And like they made like a little floating goblin like Wrath City or some shit in that same spot. And yeah, the questing was a lot more like Burning Crusade, like a lot more concise and quest hubby and stuff, but it didn't make it better. Yeah, and yeah, Thousand Needles was essentially kind of like definitely bastardized from that, I guess you could say. It definitely made shittier from that, I would say. Like I don't think anybody would say like, oh man, they just loved Thousand Needles after Cataclysm.
it's just completely flooded. I think it was taken over after that by the goblins, the goblin race, and they turned it into like a raceway, like a water raceway or something. So if you want nostalgia for that, you have to either play on a private server or play vanilla, like subscribe to their other bullshit where they let you.
And they used to not even have the option for that until a few years back, where they started doing their own recycling of their shit, just saying, oh yeah, let's just release every expansion now. I mean, they should have been doing that from the beginning if it made any sense, but you know, it had to have a bunch of other shit happen first before they decided to do that. You think you do, but you don't. That meme.
You play the vanilla game, and they're slowly releasing the expansions to that. Like Burning Crusade came out. I think Mr. Pandaria.
Yeah.
Classic is.
And you know what? I liked Mr. Pandaria. I liked it better than Cataclysm. It was a much more chill experience. I liked, even though some people say they hated the way it kind of was, I liked the lower stakes kind of more chill vibe that Mr. Pandaria had. And it's not because I'm a weeb or anything, because I'm not. I don't think, at least. Like, I'm not like, oh, the glorious Nippon, like, Japanese, even though it did look nice, Japanese designs and stuff. I just kind of liked how the Pandarian people did their shit. I found it funny. I actually liked the kind of certain things that they had. Maybe that's a bad thing that I was kind of liked, but I liked the fact that in the major like city or whatever, like I guess it was like, no, they had two separate cities, but they were in the same area. Of what the fuck was it? The Vale of Eternal Blossom Zone or whatever. The two like main cities for the Pandarian expansion. At least I remember in the Alliance one, there was like fucking basically either some human dudes or some shit. I think it was probably some human dude or something. Basically, fucking getting freaky or getting freaky with some of the fucking Pandarian women. Man, if I was these Pandarian men, I'd be fucking pissed. I'd be like, look at these fucking foreign motherfuckers taking our women and shit. But I don't know. I liked the character kind of like laid back nature of the Pandarians, I guess. I like that. And certain designs of the actual expansion were cool. The Timeless Isles were cool, obviously. I know people really like that. And then they just tried to keep reigniting the same lightning in a bottle with the fucking stuff like Mechagon and all these other shit in these later expansions I've never played. But I know they tried to, like, rehash that kind of stuff with, like, the Timeless Isles. But that kind of stuff was cool. But yeah, I like Pandaria. I even enjoyed my time playing Warlords of Draenor, but I could tell you could, just like I said with the before, like, just because you can have fun with something doesn't mean you don't also know that it's shit deep down. Like,
It's coming out soon. It's so fucking stupid. They're just re-releasing the same shit, and it's like it's a huge callback to what's going on.
but yeah, it is retarded, like, that they're just, like, doing that the way it is now, and you know, I don't give it Blizzard, like, any credit for that.
With Oblivion, you know, like how I put it. Like, I think it's a very good way of putting it, where everyone's so willing to just slurp up the wine out of the rug, you know, like the crumbs, the leftovers that these fucking soulless ass companies like Activision Blizzard or whatever it's called now, it's just so devoid of soul, like devoid of
Yeah, I mean,
talent.
Blizzard's been fucked for a long time, but it has just become very apparent the past few years.
I hesitate to even say that, because I know these motherfuckers that develop these games, like, they got talent, but they're so cucked, you know? They're so cucked into this modern world, you know what I mean? Like, where they're not even allowed to think for themselves, like...
Yeah, I kind of view it similar to, like, sort of the Japanese people, where it's like, or I don't know, the Japanese culture, working culture and shit. Like, these people are so afraid to, like they're very talented at what they do, but they're just like, kind of at the end of the day, they just, everything else, they just act completely like NPCs, and they just go along with everybody else. What everybody else says, it seems good. They're afraid to buck the trend or go against the grain and shit. And it's also kind of the Wagie mentality, where I'm sure where they're like, oh man, I can't do anything like that, or actually, like, push against what is being pushed on me in my job, because I don't want to lose my job. I need this job and shit. As Billy would say, like, you know, these places, these jobs ain't hiring and stuff. Like, that's how these people fucking think. And I've interacted with a lot of these types of people too. These people that work for these companies, just sucking their souls, but they just keep doing it. Like, the guys that one of the guys that became, like, the kind of maintainer, was supposed to be the maintainer for, like, DFU's code base. The guy fucking, like, he's been, like, not doing shit with, like, this, because he's been just being a cuck at work. That's all I could say. Like, he's just getting fucked at work, and they're just afraid to fucking push back with their bosses, because they're fucking pussies. These fucking Wagies are fucking pussies. And even some other ones that, like, it's just constant work. And they just don't push back on it. I don't know. Now, I'm not saying how people should live their lives or whatever, but I just look at it right away. I'm just like, you're a fucking pussy, man. You're just getting fucked in the ass by your employer or whatever. You're a coward. That's what I see with these people. And I think it's the similar shit as you're saying with these Activision fucking employees. Or these game company employees and shit. That they have talent, but they're fucking coward pussies deep down.
For instance, the way they censored the /silly emote in WoW, where they censored some of the...
I didn't know that. I didn't know about a lot of the censorship. I don't think I mentioned it in a video, but I should have. Fucking yeah, they recently, I don't know, like, that recently, but probably a few years ago, probably, like, around after 2020, the COVID shit. And this is probably after they had, like, that big controversy or whatever, at Blizzard. Fucking they censored a whole shit ton of items, names, and shit like that. Oh, names or NPC names like fucking yeah, what was his name? Yeah. It was fucking in Pandaria of all things. All the way then, they had like shit like this I guess probably this fishing supply vendor, Pandarian. His name was Master Baiter, um, Master Baiter, and the Pandarians they all had these like stuff like Master and shit like that, but Master Baiter obviously, and all these like other like somewhat crude little jokes, even stuff like Wirt's third leg, Wirt's third leg from a reference to Diablo 2, Wirt's like leg or whatever, like Wirt's third leg, maybe a double entendre of the phallus in this case, but they had the item in vanilla from that one treasure quest. The one treasure quest, this really rare drop was Wirt's third leg, a mace. They censored that to like South Sea Light or Lantern or some bullshit like that. And so many other there was fucking a big list of examples of shit that they censored at this point of stuff at this point. And as you're saying, like I didn't know they censored that. They censored that even in Warcraft 3. They had it with Reforged or whatever, the fucking shitty Reforged. They censored the Dryad's one of her jokes. What was it? I'll attract him with my human call. I'm so wasted, or some shit like that. Like basically a not really a date rape thing, but one of those like a drunk girl fucking shit. They censored that. I think they just got rid of it. They did other ones too that they censored. I didn't know, as you said. I guess I shouldn't be surprised. I didn't know that they censored some of the jokes for some of the races and stuff, the silly. And then I know you're gonna mention it, which I'm probably just gonna get to it, but while I'm thinking about it. Yeah, I didn't know they did that with Sylvanas, but I guess it shouldn't be surprising that they had they censored her like fucking midriff and shit. And it's like, yeah, wow, that is fucking ridiculous, but not surprising, I guess. And how fucking much of a cuck motherfucker people like Chris Metzen are or whatever. Fucking, you can't even tell your kids like, hey, I did this because, it's attractive or whatever. I like how he's like me. Currently on the server that I'm playing, the private server or whatever, I noticed like most of the characters I made are women, females or whatever. And it's not even necessarily because I'm like, oh man, I want to look at some ass. Like, even though that's not a bad thing to me, it's just, that's not even, I just like how some of their animations are. Like, they just kind of look better. Like, the female elf, night elf, looks like absolute garbage in terms of his model and the animations for the most part compared to the female night elf. And similar with some of the other ones, I usually, like, often I would play, like, if I played a dwarf, I would always play a male dwarf. But I was like, I'll make a female dwarf because fuck it. Like, almost nobody plays female dwarves, it seems, because they think they're ugly. But just give it a little bit of variety there. Or the same thing with the female or male trolls. Like, there was, like, certain aspects of the male trolls model and animations that I wasn't a big fan of. Like, they kind of, like, the way that they're hunched over just fucking looks really stupid in a lot of cases. And some of the armor looks like shit on their, like, legs and stuff. How it, like, wraps around and stuff. So that's the reason that I picked that kind of stuff. But the fact that some of these guys can't even, like, talk to their kids and be, like, honest about that is, like, you're a fucking pussy motherfucker.
I think it's the human male jokes where it's a joke about
I didn't even like, I think I heard that joke about the orc. So an orc walks into a bar or whatever the fuck, the many walks into a bar jokes that the human male had. I guess I'm just fucking dumb, but yeah, I didn't even realize that was like a race joke. I still don't really get it. If that's the case, like, because what kind of, I guess like in a ghetto or something, like you have like mostly black people or something. Yeah, I guess I don't really get that joke in terms of that
It's a
race
racial
thing.
joke about orcs, and I think it goes something along the lines of
So an orc walks into a
a
bar
guy walks into a bar with a parrot on his
or some
shoulder.
shit,
And
yeah, or some, yeah, some shit like that.
says, "Hey, where'd
Oh, that was it. I even heard it yesterday. I think I like to use the sillies when fucking walking through dungeons sometimes. Yeah, what the hell? Yeah, what the? I guess I could kind of see that with the race thing. Fucking. So an orc walks into a bar with a parrot on his shoulder, um, and then like the bartender says, "Hey, where'd you get that?" Um, and then the parrot says, "Duratar, they got them all over the place." And it makes me wonder, yeah, what would that joke have been if it was about race? Like, something about maybe Chicago or some fucking shit, like, or the Bronx, like, yeah, they got them all over the place. Yeah, but that's a pretty fucking funny one.
you get that?" Or how does it go? Oh no, it's an orc. An orc walks into a.
And I don't know who did the voices for the male. I'm pretty sure it was it might have been, I don't think it was Chris Metzen, but whoever did the male voice for the jokes, I do love that. Or the male voice for the human males player or whatever. I do like how they sound or whatever. Fucking the jokes are delivered pretty funny. So an orc walks into a bar and
A bar, and the bartender.
some of the fucking voices for the races player race like emotes and stuff are fucking like very fucking terrible though. Like the orc female is fucking it's not that bad, I guess, but it's a little bit cringeworthy. The undead female is a little bit cringy, kind of how she says the shit. The fucking human female jokes are fucking obnoxious because it's just like they're just like fucking like blonde, dumb blonde, fucking those kind of jokes, like Stacy jokes or whatever. Those are fucking obnoxious.
Asks, "Hey, where'd you get that?" Comes in with a parrot on his shoulder. I'm doing a horrible job at telling this joke.
I haven't really heard many of the gnome and the gnome female jokes, the gnome male and the gnome female jokes. Eh. I need to listen to some of those because I don't really remember hearing almost any of them.
And the parrot goes, "Dura."
Okay, the undead female does have one. Something about skipping her kneecap across like a lake or some bullshit like that.
They got them everywhere, and it's a
They got them all over the
on
place.
A racial joke about blacks, okay? About black people. Okay, so replace the word orc for a black person. The N word. You can say the N word. Just say the N word.
They got them all over the
With a hard
place.
ER. I'm just gonna turn on my car. So, like, that's what I mean. Like, the developers are absolute fucking cuckolds.
No, they
they're
are.
not
They're
even
fucking
allowed.
coward pussies.
I'll move my mic. They're not even allowed to make the jokes they want or let's say.
And I think a lot of it comes down to just that fucking coward pussy thing of not wanting to rock the boat.
I'm a huge fan of me personally. I'm a huge fan of provocative kind of outfits like bikini armor and all that. I just like that kind of stuff. Okay, I'm a warm-blooded male. I go out of my way to find equipment like that in every game I play, if I can get away with it. And they haven't in the retail version of WoW. They haven't censored outfits as far as I know. Like recently, which was kind of shocking, they have this thing called the trading post where you can earn points by doing quests and all this other bullshit. They got like a list of achievements you can get and earn points at the trading post, and then you can trade your points in to get other shit that comes out monthly. It changes every month. Okay, I think it was 2 months ago they had Sylvanas's old outfit, which is the one that they actually censored, which is fucking weird in my opinion that they released it this way. So you could buy the Sylvanas, her her like little bikini outfit, her little bikini armor outfit. Um, for so many points. I think it was like 800 points or something. So I ended up getting it. I had the points for it. I got it. And to me that was weird because it shows like it bears a midriff and all that. It's very sexy for today's world, which was weird. It's like, oh, okay, that's kind of strange that to me that they actually let that fly.
To me, that kind of shit shows that it's like whoever decided to have the stuff that gets censored in the first place, they just miss something basically. Like when they're not involved, that kind of stuff can get through because that there's like one person or one department that's just kind of like going through and scrubbing all that stuff away. But then when they're not paying enough attention, then it just kind of gets through, that kind of shit. Because yeah, if they censored Sylvanas' model and textures to take away the midriff, why would they release a armor outfit for players that would have the same kind of thing? So it's like, or the previous thing, but with the midriff. Like, yeah.
It's little things like that where it's like maybe there's a tiny kickback, but I don't know. Maybe they're only allowed a certain amount of lewd kind of equipment that they can put in their game, or
It's, I would
lewd
say,
reference.
not that I have any idea, but I'm just saying from opinion, I'd probably say it's mostly just something that just got through or an oversight. Probably not even like one that's intentionally there, like somebody just doing a kickback. Maybe they are, but like, or trying to push back. But it's just incompetent people not being able to keep track of all this shit.
Or something. You know what I mean? Like I don't know what's going on. So, but they actually offered. I think if you get two versions of the Sylvanas outfit, the one that bears the midriff and the other one that was censored, that they ended up censoring. Like if y'all don't know who Sylvanas Windrunner is, she's like a undead hyper.
Yeah, that whole story with Sylvanas is kind of retarded. Um, with Arthas turning her into a banshee, but then somehow she became free of his enslavement or whatever, kind of, or some fucking bullshit. And then who even knows, they gave the stupid explanation of like the Valkyries or whatever the fuck were the ones that are helping her make the Forsaken or whatever, basically raise the people into Forsaken or whatever the fuck. I mean, basically the Forsaken was just kind of fucking shoved in there to give another race to the Horde in vanilla, because let's be real, like, as well as to make the Horde seem more like the kind of the bad guy race, because otherwise, without the Forsaken and the shit they do in like the Horde really aren't even the bad guys the way that they have it set up. So it's like they had to have them in there for that reason, I'm pretty sure. Even though I like the Forsaken, I'm just saying that they're basically there for those reasons. Like, let's be real.
And she turns in the story, she turns into a banshee. This dude turns into a banshee. I'm not getting into the details because the details are stupid, but she gets turned into a banshee. She gets back how it went down. But and in the game, like she went through a few redesigns, like she'll do.
Yeah, I remember the original. I think on the server that I'm on, I'm pretty sure that yeah, she just uses the old, just dressed up night elf fucking model and stuff. Yeah, it has to be. Which I think it works because she was a night elf. Yeah, she wasn't. Was she a night elf? Maybe she wasn't a night elf. What the fuck? And maybe she was. Oh, maybe she was a high. Okay, maybe she wasn't a night elf. Yeah, she was a high elf. Yeah, when she died, she was a high elf. Not a night elf. So yeah, her being a night elf model, easier for them, but obviously technically not correct. So then they gave her a proper like high elf looking model, and then they gave her what she has now, which is like the more corpse looking banshee design, which I think most people know as what she looks like.
Do a little bouncy animation and everything, the idle animation. And she had like a sexy, like, I love that outfit. Maybe I'll show a picture of it here. I don't ended up censoring her. And the story behind it
Yeah,
is
that's fucking
that
funny.
one of the lead developers basically
fucking
said
fucking
his
hell,
daughter,
man.
like his 8-year-old, 9-year-old daughter,
I don't know, honey. Well,
asked
let's
why
censor it
Sylvanas was
now.
wearing a bikini.
Ugh,
And he gave this really fucking cucked ass response, like totally
these
bitch
fucking guys,
response
man.
of I don't even know or something like that.
Metzen, you're gonna be a father that your daughters look back at and say, "This guy's a fucking pussy." They might not say that, but they'll know that deep down.
Something stupid. Like he can't even explain to his daughter like the way I talk to my daughter. Like I can explain to my daughter why my character is wearing like bikini outfit, like a kind of a sexy outfit. It's like because that's the reason, because it looks good. I'm a male. I like looking at pretty things, and it's not just limited to play dress up as well. I'm gonna give
I mean, shit. You'd probably like parts of Daggerfall just because that's like Daggerfall has like dress up simulator kind of stuff where you got the paper doll fucking in your inventory kind of deal. And then you got a surprising amount of clothes options, considering like almost all the other Elder Scrolls games, you could either wear armor or clothes. In this case, you could wear some clothing under armor at the same time or whatever, which is kind of funny. Daggerfall, what was that? I forget what people called it, but Fashion Fall, I guess. Fashion Fall. Um, But yeah, I mean, I think anybody can like that. I know not everybody, but I think anybody can like that aspect of the like dress up stuff. I enjoyed collecting transmog for a while as well. Thing I was never a fan of with that kind of collecting stuff. Same thing with the collecting the mounts. Like it's cool to do, but then you realize like you never actually use the things you collect. I don't really like that. I like to have a use for those things, so just kind of collecting it just for the sake of it. I mean, I do the same thing with like crafting recipes and stuff. I like sometimes just like I'm not gonna use this, but I'm like fuck it, I might as well just buy it. It's like cheap enough just to learn it. Um, that collecting aspect, but yeah, I mean that was a massive success for them in terms of like I guess another revenue stream was stuff like transmog and another thing for people to do was stuff like collecting transmog. What did I did one thing I remember with transmog on like a gnome rogue I had or some shit. Uh, I just tried to make him look as obnoxious as possible. And what the fuck? I gave him like a druid helmet that had like these antlers on it, like these fucking big ass antlers, and like I made him like tie-dye blue as much as possible, just like an obnoxious fucking purposely obnoxious transmog design or whatever I did. That was kind of funny, but yeah.
you a good example. My wife was really into the glamours in Final Fantasy 14 the way I was. So her and I spent a lot of time, like a lot of time. Like 90% of our time in the game was farming glamours in dungeons together. And that's what we spent our time doing. And when we quit playing 14, guess what? She started playing games like Infinity Nikki, where the whole premise of the game is to make your character look cute or sexy, depending on your mood, right? She's got sexy outfits, she's got cute outfits, and that's me. That's what I like doing, okay? I like dressing up the girls in the game, all right? It's that simple. And Metzen, the mega cuck, could have easily explained this to his daughter, but people like that are so fucked in the head. Like, I say that...
It's funny, why is that surprising? Like, why is that surprising to people? Like, little girls, they like dolls, they like to play dress up. Why wouldn't they like to do that as adults? Like, you know, I mean, people are just fucking retarded. They can't, like, make that thing together. Like, boys like playing with action figures. Why wouldn't they also like to do that as adults? Or, like, anything, like, bikes and stuff. Why wouldn't they like any shit like that? Like, really, the fact you the guy couldn't explain that to his daughter, it is like, wow, what the fuck.
Just to my daughter all the time, like, you'd be shocked at how many parents are actually afraid to talk to their children about anything at all.
That's why they send them to the schools and just let them,
ask them how their day went at school, you know, or how to deal with, I don't know, how to deal with a bully or how to deal with your stupid little friends. Like, my daughter and I have to talk about I have to recontextualize a lot of times what's going on between her teachers, what's going on with her classmates, and all that. And basically, what I say on my channel is like, look, the teachers, stop thinking of them as teachers. Like, you give them the respect that's required because you're at school. You got to do what you're told, right? Just to get through the fucking day, okay? But you got to understand, these teachers are just fucking trashy adults, okay? They had fucked up childhoods.
Pretty much.
Their parents didn't raise them right, and here they are trying to teach children that don't even belong to them, right? They're just a bunch of fucking bunch of state employees, a bunch of what's it called, civil servants,
State babysitters.
who we give our children to, and they basically terrorize our
State
children.
babysitter brainwashers
for 8 hours a day.
more than likely, more than anything.
So I have to recontextualize that for her. Like, I'm not afraid to talk to my daughter about these things. So with that said, I'm not afraid to talk to my daughter about these sexy glamours I like to wear, or what they call it, transmogs, or whatever. And I'm like, look, it's not just guys being horny. It's chicks too, who are, maybe they're getting hot and bothered by it. I don't know.
I mean, I don't know if, you know, I believe everything with the psychology. I don't, but I'm saying, like, certain things, I think they do make sense. Like, the studies or the whatever, where they have, like, what a guy considers attractive. Like, a guy considers usually women attractive, but a woman doesn't necessarily just see that guys can be attractive. They also see other women as attractive. They view them as pleasurable to look at, kind of shit. So, makes complete sense.
But they like that too. They like little outfits that bear the midriff and show the legs and all that. Sylvanas, like the old school.
Men like looking at women. Women like looking at women too. That's basically the simplest way to put it.
Not old school, but the remodel of Sylvanas.
And not ugly women. Women that are attractive looking.
Fucked it up was like, yeah, like sexy banshee chick with a bow, and she's a badass. That's great. To me, that's like the perfect, not maybe like the perfect role model, but you get what I'm saying. It's like women, or the girls, young girls especially, get to see the badass, and I'm just going to say it, half-naked elf chick with the bow going fucking crazy and just like slaughtering everybody. And that's badass, man. It's like He-Man, you know, like He-Man ain't wearing shit, dude, or Conan the Barbarian. It's the same fucking thing. It's a fantasy, guys. It's a fantasy. Let's relax. But Metzen, a little cuck-ass bitch, can't even contextualize it for her because he don't even understand what's going on. He's like, I don't even know. It's like, yeah, I believe you. You have no clue what's going on. That's 1000% believable, dude. So, after he had this little incident with his daughter, he ended up censoring Sylvanas. They put like a weird texture over her midriff, and that was it. They gave her pants, and did she have pants before? No, she didn't. She didn't have pants. No, wait. Yeah. I'm saying it wrong. She had pants, but they're kind of low cut kind of thing where it was bearing her midriff. Like I said, I'll show pictures and everything. What I was thinking of is the fan art. I forget that fan art depicts her with like a bikini armor. But anyway, she had a top on that bared her midriff and her cleavage and all that. And after the little conversation with his daughter, they ended up putting some weird brown texture that doesn't even go with the outfit over her midriff. Like, they censored her midriff. They said no, you know, no navels allowed, or whatever the fuck they were doing back in the on television, you know. Back in the
Surprised at this point that at that point they didn't also reduce her breast size, because goddamn, those are pretty fucking big. If you're going for naturals or whatever.
Dream of Genie days where I Dream of Genie wasn't allowed to show her navel, right? It's the same bullshit, man. Like, these liberals, and these like over conservative soccer moms are they're the same fucking people, man. It's so stupid. Anyway, I kind of went off on a tangent because I think it is related. Like, when it comes to these artists, and they're just so pussy whooped, like bitch mode, like bitch boys. I don't know, dude. Just navigating this shit is becoming ridiculous. But yeah, anyway, I think that about covers what I wanted to talk about. It'll probably get brought up again because this censorship thing is starting to affect You know, all this affects my hobbies, right? And I think I'm lucky in a way where it's like I know how to emulate old systems. I know how to pirate PC games, so it's like I can kind of do whatever I want in terms of entertainment and be okay. I don't have to cuck out $50 to play Oblivion, you know? But shit, I think that's about covers what I wanted to say. Anyway, thanks Kirk. Thanks a lot, Kirk, for the video. It was really interesting. Got me thinking about a lot of things. So I think that about covers it. Y'all have a good day.
But you gotta cope. We love coping. Didn't do it.
Alright, well, goddamn. How the fuck that your 45-minute video have turned into me with a over 2 hour fucking reaction or whatever. I don't know. This is how it always works with me somehow. But either way, I think I said what I wanted to say about what you said. Yeah, sorry, this is absurdly long for the absurdity of me reacting to a video and then it being over double the length of that. Just like, but whatever. Hope you enjoyed listening, I guess, to some of my ranting and stuff, and yeah. Thanks for your response, Rudy, and everybody else as well. Hope you're doing well, and have a good one.